We're here with the BoxingVoice.com with Dan Goossen. With Joe Goossen. Now, this was only your second training camp with Martirosyan, and he looked very good. What were some of the things that you guys were working on specifically, because you guys were going to be faced with an unusually tall fighter for the junior middleweight division?
Well, just to put a slight variation on what you said, it's really my first training camp, because the first fight I had with Vanes was only 2.5 weeks, and there was no room for minutia at that point. So it was just try to get him in the best shape I could within 2.5 weeks. That being said, we did have an extended period of 6 months to work the floor and get a lot of sparring in, and then work on a lot of details and technique and the like. So we did have an extended camp for this. As far as facing, so that was my first camp really. As far as facing Willie Nelson, this was a difficult challenge. Number one, it's hard to find sparring that's 6'3" in junior middleweight or even a middleweight. So we were lucky enough to get some great sparring out there and find a guy that was real tall. He gave us 3 weeks of great work, and with a sort of other sparring partners. And so I think it acclimated Vanes to the point to where this wasn't so strange tonight. So it was difficult. You saw the kid had a great jab. He's got a really long right hand. He's very Tommy Hearns-esque in a way, Willie Nelson. And, you know, he had a great variety of punches. He had good uppercuts, left hooks. He kept his hands up real well. This was not an easy nut to crack. So I give Vanes a lot of credit because, you know, this kid has been very busy, Willie Nelson. He's had like 4 fights in the past couple months. Right. And Vanes has had really 1 fight in the past 7 months. So, you know, he had to get a little rust off him at the beginning, and then we took over the fight in the second half, and I think that's what won us the fight.
Now, I know, you know, a tall fighter like Nelson, you expect to box, you know, you expect for him to use his reach, but he has always liked to come forward, and getting pressure from a tall fighter is much different than getting pressure from a shorter fighter. Did you guys do different things as far as conditioning to get prepared for that?
Well, yeah, you know, you have to work on a lot of head movement. You know, you saw Vanes he'd throw a right hand, he'd get under the left hook. So we worked a lot on the weaving and slipping. It's actually very new to him. So as well as he pulled it off was kind of amazing that he pulled off what takes years to develop within just a few months. I think in the next fight, it's going to even be more comfortable for him. You know, Willie Nelson, you know, is trained, I forget Jack's last name, unfortunately, I apologize, Jack Lowe. And, you know, he had Kelly Pavlik, who was another extremely tall fighter for his weight division, and he was kind of an inside fighter too. So it may be Jack's style that's impressed upon them, why they like the inside so much. But I can see why. He has a great variety of punches, and he's very strong. He could go anywhere. He's very accurate. But, you know, eventually, like I told Vanes, this fight was going to end up on the inside because, you know, you're going to get tired and you're going to slow down a little bit, and then you get more comfortable and you end up on the inside 99% of the time. And if you want to win, you've got to press a guy that would rather be pressing you. You got to push him back. So that naturally took us on the inside. So I think that's where we had the advantage, to tell you the truth. Even though Willie Nelson's a very good inside fighter, I think Vanes was just a little bit slicker. And you got to remember, he's got 15, 16 more fights or thereabouts than Willie Nelson. And Willie's going to be he could be a champ one day. I just think Vanes' experience was the difference in this fight.
Well, you know, speaking of Willie Nelson being a tall fighter in the junior middleweight division, Vanes is a very tall fighter as well. And he has been competing at this division since his debut, I believe. Or, you know, since his maybe second or third fight. And, you know, that's kind of unusual, especially because he started out so young and, you know, he's in his mid-20s now and he's still at that same weight. How is he making weight, and do you think moving up in weight, is that something that you would support?
Actually, to tell you the truth, because Vanes is training a little bit differently than normal, I happen to be a little bit of a fanatic for round after round in the gym, as long as nobody's getting worn out or hurt. You know, I think conditioning, if you've got talent, conditioning's the key. You have to be in better condition than the next guy, so that means you've got to be 120% in shape. But if anything, Vaughn has made 54 so easy, we never missed a day of eating or drinking.
Wow.
So I even said it to him tonight. I said, you could actually make 47 without hurting yourself.
Wow.
And he agrees. His father said it, and I said it. And I wouldn't say it if I thought it was harmful. But he would be more inclined to go to 47 than to 60.
And last but not least, who are some of the fighters that you would like to see him with in the junior middleweight, or I guess the welterweight divisions as well, if the right opportunity comes up?
That's right. That's a distinct possibility. Well, look, I mean, Vaughn is pushing the 40-fight limit right now, so he's up there with all the veterans, and whoever the top guys are. Of course, everyone wants to fight Canelo because it's the biggest payday out there, and I like it for that reason as well. But I like it because he's a champ. And I like it because I think we have a heck of a height and reach advantage on him. And you saw how Mayweather, who's really not nearly as tall as Vaughn is, outboxed him and maneuvered him very easily, to tell you the truth. So I think, a matchup with Vaughn and Canelo, I think it would be a very interesting fight, but I think that's a fight we could win.
Well, I'd like to thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I wish nothing but the best for you guys. And my condolences go out to you and your family.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.